Day 29, Egypt and Exodus, Exodus 4-5, Leviticus 4, Psalm 45, let's begin. Exodus 4:5. Responding, Moses said, "They will not believe me, and they will not listen to my voice, but they will say, 'The Lord has not appeared to you.' Therefore he said to him, 'What is that you hold in your hand?' He answered, 'A staff.' And the Lord said, 'Cast it down upon the ground.' He cast it down, and it was turned into a snake, so that Moses fled away. And the Lord said, 'Reach out your hand, and take hold of its tail.' He reached out his hand and took hold, and it was turned into a staff. 'So may they believe,' he said, 'that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you.' And the Lord said again, 'Put your hand into your bosom.' And when he had put it into his bosom, he brought it out leprous, resembling snow. 'Put your hand back,' he said, 'into your bosom.' He put it back and brought it out again, and it was like the rest of his flesh. 'If they will not believe you,' he said, 'and will not listen to the sermon of the first sign, then they will believe the word of the subsequent sign. But if they will not believe even these two signs, and they will not listen to your voice, take from the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land, and whatever you will have drawn from the river will be turned into blood.' Moses said, 'I beg you, O Lord, I was not eloquent yesterday or the day before. And from the time that you have spoken to your servant, I have a greater impediment and slowness of tongue.' The Lord said to him, 'Who made the mouth of man? And who has formed the mute and the deaf, the seeing and the blind? Was it not I? Go on, therefore, and I will be in your mouth. And I will teach you what you shall say.' But he said, 'I beg you, O Lord, send whomever else you would send.' The Lord, being angry at Moses, said, 'Aaron the Levite is your brother. I know that he is eloquent. Behold, he is going out to meet you, and seeing you, he will rejoice in heart. Speak to him, and put my words in his mouth. And I will be in your mouth and in his mouth, and I will reveal to you what you must do. He will speak for you to the people, and he will be your mouth. But you will be with him in those things that pertain to God. Also, take this staff into your hand, with it you will accomplish the signs.' Moses went forth, and he returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and he said to him, 'I shall go and return to my brothers in Egypt, so that I may see if they are still alive.' And Jethro said to him, 'Go in peace.' And so the Lord said to Moses in Midian, 'Go, and return to Egypt. For all those who sought your life have died.' Therefore Moses took his wife and his sons, and he placed them upon a donkey, and he returned into Egypt, carrying the staff of God in his hand. And the Lord said to him, as he was returning to Egypt, 'See that you accomplish, in the sight of Pharaoh, all the wonders that I have placed in your hand. I will harden his heart, and he will not release the people. And you shall say to him, Thus says the Lord, Israel is my firstborn son. I have said to you, Release my son, so that he may serve me. And you were not willing to release him. Behold, I will put to death your firstborn son.' And while he was on the journey, at an inn, the Lord met him, and he was willing to kill him. For this reason, Zipporah took a very sharp stone, and she circumcised the foreskin of her son, and she touched his feet, and she said, 'You are a bloody spouse to me.' And he released him, after she had said, 'You are a bloody spouse,' because of the circumcision. Then the Lord said to Aaron, 'Go into the desert to meet Moses.' And he went directly to meet him on the mountain of God, and he kissed him. And Moses explained to Aaron all the words of the Lord, by which he had sent him, and the signs which he had commanded. And they arrived at the same time, and they gathered together all the elders of the sons of Israel. And Aaron spoke all the words which the Lord had said to Moses. And he accomplished the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. And they heard that the Lord had visited the sons of Israel, and that he had looked with favor upon their affliction. And falling prostrate they worshipped. After these things, Moses and Aaron entered, and they said to Pharaoh, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, Release my people, so that they may sacrifice to me in the desert. But he responded, Who is the Lord, that I should listen to his voice and release Israel? I do not know the Lord, and I will not release Israel. And they said, The God of the Hebrews has called us, so that we may go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God. Otherwise, a pestilence, or the sword may befall us. The king of Egypt said to them, Why do you, Moses and Aaron, distract the people from their works? Go back to your burdens. And Pharaoh said, The people of the land are many. You see that the turmoil has increased. How much more if you give them rest from the works? Therefore, on the same day, he instructed the overseers of the works, and the taskmasters of the people, saying, You shall no longer give chaff to the people to form bricks, as before. But they may go and gather straw. And you shall impose upon them the same quota of bricks that they made before. Neither will you lessen anything, for they are idle, and therefore they cry out, saying, We shall go and sacrifice to our God. They shall be oppressed with works, and these shall occupy them, so that they may not agree to lying words. And so the overseers of the works and the taskmasters went out and said to the people, Thus says Pharaoh, I give you no chaff. Go, and collect it wherever you are able to find it. Neither will anything of your work be diminished. And the people were dispersed through all the land of Egypt, in order to gather straw. Likewise, the overseers of the works pressured them, saying, Complete your work each day, just as you were accustomed to do before, when straw was given to you. And those who were first in the works of the sons of Israel were scourged by Pharaoh's taskmasters, saying, Why have you not filled the quota of bricks, either yesterday, nor today, just as before? And the first among the sons of Israel came, and they cried out to Pharaoh, saying, Why do you act against your servants in this way? Straw is not given to us, and yet the same amount of bricks is commanded. So we, your servants, are cut up by scourging, and injustice. And he said, You are idle. And for this reason you say, We shall go and sacrifice to the Lord. Therefore, go and work. Straw will not be given to you, and you will return the customary number of bricks. And the first among the sons of Israel saw themselves in a crisis, because it was said to them, Nothing at all will be lessened from the bricks throughout each day. And they met with Moses and Aaron, who stood opposite them as they departed from Pharaoh. And they said to them, May the Lord see and judge, because you have caused our odor to become foul before Pharaoh and his servants, and you have provided him with a sword, in order to kill us. And Moses returned to the Lord, and he said, Lord, why have you afflicted this people? Why have you sent me? For from the time that I entered to Pharaoh, so as to speak in your name, he has afflicted your people. And you have not freed them. Leviticus 4. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Say to the sons of Israel, The soul which will have sinned through ignorance, and concerning any of the commandments of the Lord that he instructed not to be done, if anything at all has been done. If the priest who is anointed will have sinned, causing the people to commit a transgression, he shall offer to the Lord for his sin an immaculate calf. And he shall lead it to the door of the tabernacle of the testimony in the sight of the Lord. And he shall place his hand upon its head, and he shall immolate it to the Lord. Likewise he shall take from the blood of the calf, carrying it into the tabernacle of the testimony. And having dipped his finger into the blood, he shall sprinkle it 7 times in the sight of the Lord, opposite the veil of the sanctuary. And he shall place some of the same blood over the horns of the altar of most pleasing incense to the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the testimony. Then he shall pour out the remainder of the blood at the base of the altar of holocaust at the entrance of the tabernacle. And on behalf of the sin, he shall take the fat of the calf, both that which covers the vital organs and all that is interior, the 2 little kidneys, and the mesh that is on them near the sides, and the fat of the liver with the little kidneys, just as it is taken from the calf of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And he shall burn them upon the altar of holocaust. Yet truly, the skin and all the flesh, with the head and the feet, and the intestines and the dung, and the remainder of the body, he shall carry away, beyond the camp, to the clean place where the ashes are usually poured out. And he shall burn them upon a stack of wood. There, in the place where the ashes have been poured out, they will be burned. But if all the crowd of Israel will have been ignorant, and through inexperience will have done what is contrary to the commandment of the Lord, and afterwards shall understand their sin, they shall offer a calf on behalf of their sin, and they shall lead it to the door of the tabernacle. And the elders of the people shall place their hands upon its head in the sight of the Lord. And when the calf has been immolated in the sight of the Lord, the priest who is anointed shall carry some of its blood into the tabernacle of the testimony. And he shall dip his finger in it, sprinkling it 7 times opposite the veil. And he shall place some of the same blood on the horns of the altar, which is in the presence of the Lord in the tabernacle of the testimony. But the remainder of the blood he shall pour out at the base of the altar of holocaust, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the testimony. And he shall take all its fat and burn it upon the altar, doing so with this calf in the same manner as he did before. And while the priest is praying for them, the Lord will forgive them. But the calf itself he shall carry away, beyond the camp, and he shall also burn it, just as with the previous calf, because it is for the sin of the multitude. If a leader will have sinned, and through ignorance will have done one of the many things which the law of the Lord prohibits, and afterwards he shall understand his sin, he shall offer an immaculate he-goat from among the goats, as a sacrifice to the Lord. And he shall place his hand upon its head. And when he will have immolated it, in the place where the holocaust is usually slain, in the sight of the Lord, because it is for sin, the priest shall dip his finger in the blood of the victim for sin, touching the horns of the altar of holocaust, and pouring out the remainder at its base. Yet truly, the fat he shall burn upon it, just as is usually done with the victims of peace offerings. And the priest shall pray for him and for his sin, and he shall be released from it. But if a soul from the people of the land will have sinned through ignorance, so as to have done any of those things that the law of the Lord prohibits, and so commit a transgression, and he shall realize his sin, he shall offer an immaculate she-goat. And he shall place his hand upon the head of the victim which is for sin, and he shall immolate it in the place of the holocaust. And the priest shall take some of the blood with his finger, and touching the horns of the altar of holocaust, he shall pour out the remainder at its base. But taking away all the fat, just as it is usually taken away from the victims of peace offerings, he shall burn it upon the altar as a sweet odor to the Lord. And he shall pray for him, and he shall be released from it. But if instead he will offer from the flock a victim for his sin, specifically, an immaculate female sheep, he shall place his hand upon its head, and he shall immolate it in the place where the victims of holocausts are usually slain. And the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and touching the horns of the altar of holocaust, he shall pour out the remainder at its base. Likewise, all of the fat shall be taken away, just as the fat of the ram, which is immolated for peace offerings, is usually taken away. And he shall burn it upon the altar as an incense of the Lord. And he shall pray for him and for his sin, and he shall be released from it. Psalm 45. Unto the end. To the sons of Korah, for confidence. A psalm. Our God is our refuge and strength, a helper in the tribulations that have greatly overwhelmed us. Because of this, we will not be afraid when the earth will be turbulent, and the mountains will be transferred into the heart of the sea. They thundered, and the waters were stirred up among them. The mountains have been disturbed by his strength. The frenzy of the river rejoices the city of God. The Most High has sanctified his tabernacle. God is in its midst, it will not be shaken. God will assist it in the early morning. The peoples have been disturbed, and the kingdoms have been bowed down. He uttered his voice, the earth has been moved. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our supporter. Draw near and behold the works of the Lord, what portents he has set upon the earth. Carrying away wars even to the end of the earth. He will crush the bow and break the weapons, and he will burn the shield with fire. Be empty, and see that I am God. I will be exalted among the peoples, and I will be exalted upon the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our supporter.